Hey YouTube, welcome back to another episode of New England Backroads with Travis from Northwoods Overland. Today's road we're covering is Tripoli Road up here in Waterville Valley. It extends east to west from Waterville Valley to Woodstock, New Hampshire, and like most of these forest roads is actually closed in the winter. It closes somewhere around November, middle of November, and reopens in May usually of the next year. But that's of course subject to change depending on how much snow we have and things like that. So this road was completed in 1934 from a combination of efforts from the Civil Conservation Corps and the National Forest Service. It's about 11.2 miles long, and as I mentioned, runs east to west. It's named after a local mine that used to exist up here on Eastman Pond, where they mine diatomaceous earth, which is has another name called Tripoli. This was an abrasive polish that was very popular about 100 years ago. Another cool part about Tripoli Road is that on the other end, closer to the Woodstock side, if you go in the woods a little bit on the south side of the road, there's the remnants of an old abandoned town called Thornton Gore. You can still find foundations over by the confluence of Talford and Eastman Brook. One of the things I love about Tripoli Road is that it's home for a bunch of dispersed camping. So it's one of the few places in the state where you can actually go and do dispersed camping. And if you're not familiar with dispersed camping, what that is basically camping alongside of a road up here in New Hampshire. And depending on where you are, the spots might be further apart from each other, or they could be kind of really close to each other. But it's really cool. There's not a lot of services. You have no toilets, no showers, or anything like that. Which of course can not be for everyone's liking when it comes to camping. Some people kind of prefer more of the glamping type of stuff. But for me, I love being able to get out here, get you a little closer to nature, and you're able to kind of just relax and enjoy. So thanks for coming along today, and if you like these sorts of videos, please don't hesitate to add some comments or a like, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see some more notifications when I upload more of these. Otherwise, let's just sit back and enjoy the beautiful road on a wonderful fall day. Getting further and further into peak foliage. If you make your way up here on the weekends, you're definitely going to run into lots of crowds, so be prepared to go down these roads pretty slow. But today it looks like we're lucky, and we're here early enough that we can kind of get the road to ourselves as much as possible, which is great, and allows us to kind of really go at our own pace as we drive down the road. Sure you're seeing this in the footage, but the colors up here are just absolutely gorgeous right now. These strong, bright yellows and oranges and red, interspersed with all of the spruce and pine trees. It really, really looks pretty. If you have a chance, I would definitely recommend getting up to New Hampshire to check out the foliage. It's like nothing other. It's every other location you look is postcard worthy and really has some beautiful, beautiful scenery up here. Now, as you can see, it's paved in for the first couple of miles on the road. But once we get up in a little bit of ways, it actually turns to a full gravel dirt road and it continues that way all the way until the other end. One thing to be sure though, if you do come up here camping, is because you're not at a regular campground, you definitely have to worry about wildlife a little bit more, specifically bears. So you have to make sure that you're cleaning up your site at the end of the night. You want to make sure that you're not leaving any food out or anything that may have strong fragrances. It's best to try to throw those things into your vehicle because it really kind of helps encapsulate and keep those things closed off from the environment. Another option you can have is you can actually do a bear hang, and what that is you can go and you can hang your food and consumable items off of a tree, and ideally you want to put it approximately 10 feet in the air, and if you can, find a branch where you can actually hang it out about 4 feet from the tree. The reason why is because bears can't reach them. Their arms aren't long enough, or their bodies aren't big enough to be able to hold on to a tree, but also still be able to reach out and actually grab the food as it's hanging up there. And being 10 feet from the ground, it also makes sure that they can't actually get up on their hind paws and grab it that way as well. So both options really work. I'm more of a person to kind of throw it all into my rig, just because I usually keep things in a couple of big storage containers and bins to make life really easy, kind of breaking it down camp. And yeah, so like I said, it shouldn't scare you from being able to get out here and experiencing a different style of camping. It's just something to keep in mind as you're getting a little closer to wildlife and nature out here. And please, oh please, if you do come out here and camp, make sure that whatever you bring in, you bring out with you. Especially during these times with the COVID and things like that, a lot more people are trying to use the outdoors as a way to kind of escape and break away from the monotony of being work from home or locked in your house. And that's awesome, but as a result of that, we're seeing a lot more trash and debris kind of being left at each of the camps, whether it's people are willfully doing it or just forgetting. Do whatever you can to try to clean up and pick up after yourselves, because the better we take care of all of this stuff, the longer it'll be around for your generation and the future ones that come after us. So now we're finally off the paved roads, able to go down some of these dirt roads we love so much. Speaking of, we're back on a little bit of paved road, probably here to prevent a little bit more of the erosion and stem some of that. And that's the Osceola trailhead. So if you want to come up and hike Mount Osceola, that's a very popular spot for starting off. And on the weekends, this road at this point is packed, going up and down this for maybe a half a mile, a couple hundred yards, 400 or 500 yards in each direction. So it's definitely very popular. We got lucky, like I said, I'm up here on a Monday, so it's makes it a little easier to get away and kind of get your own personal use of these roads. Also, because there's nobody on the roads, I can drive a little faster than we may normally. At best, keep it around 25-30 miles an hour on this road. You just don't know if you're going to lose traction or somebody's going to kind of come up from around one of these bends and surprise you. You want to always make sure you have full control of your vehicle, and that way you don't drive unsafe and cause some accidents. able to recover yourself because there's not a lot of people in whatever area you're traveling. Come up here camping, there's some absolutely awesome sites. There's a couple that are right along I think it's the Eastman Brook that runs down through here, and it's just so awesome to be able to go to bed at night and listen to the sound of water rushing by your site. Just make sure you're not up here after a heavy rainfall or camping too close, just in case things flood a little bit. But there's definitely some really cool experiences and things that you wouldn't normally get at most typical campgrounds. Trailhead for Eastman Pond. So that's where I was saying that they used to mine diatomaceous earth out. And you can actually hike in there and bring some stuff to go swimming. It's a short little hike, and there's a couple of ponds actually. There's Eastman Pond and Little Eastman Pond. And like I said, it's a nice little loop, and you can actually come across some old foundations of the mills and things like that while you're going around and cooling off in the middle of the summer. beautiful day. We might as well make a little pit stop and go see if we can catch some brook trout. Side adventure was a failure. We came up empty-handed fishing, but you know, we got to enjoy being beside a beautiful creek and listening to the water flow for a little while, so there's definitely nothing wrong with that. We also got to let our sidekick out for a little run and a bathroom break. So let's continue down through the rest of the road and little pond. I've stayed there before and I've had a blast. It's also a place where you can go and use some of the services and facilities if you need a shower, things like that, and you've been camping out here on Tripoli Road. But as we're back onto pavement, we are at the end of Tripoli Road and coming up on the end gate. We hope you enjoyed the ride today, and if you did, please don't hesitate to subscribe, and you can get updates when I upload more of these videos. And if you didn't, then hey, I appreciate you at least coming along for a little while, and I hope you have a wonderful day.